Namaste everyone, welcome to the class. Now let us understand joint stock company. Joint stock company were evolved to overcome the limitations of sole proprietorship and partnership. The modern factory system requires huge financial and managerial resources and involves considerable risk. Sole proprietorship and partnership provided inappropriate for large-scale operations due to their unlimited liability and instability. Therefore, the joint stock company came into existence. So, you have to remember this thing, why this joint stock company came into existence, or why we use joint stock company, or why joint stock company emerged. Because there are many operations in which we require huge financial and managerial resource, and there is unlimited liability and instability which cannot be fulfilled by proprietorship, sole proprietorship or partnership. So, we require joint stock company. Now, let us understand meaning of joint stock company. A company is an artificial person created by law, having a separate legal entity with a perpetual succession and a common seal. So, what do you understand? A company is an artificial person, means as person can do different things, similarly the company can do different work. So, a company, we consider this company as an artificial person. Created by law means by law it is okay. Having a separate legal entity, so the owner of the company and the company, they are two different things. With a perpetual succession, with a perpetual succession means this company will keep on continuing even if the person who are running the company, okay, they die, new persons will come and they continue the company. So the company will keep on running, okay, with a common seal, means with a common name. According to Professor Hansi, joint stock company is a voluntary association of individuals for profit having a capital divided into transferable shares, the ownership of which is the condition of membership. So, according to Professor Hansi, joint stock company is a voluntary association of individuals for profit having a capital divided into transferable shares, the ownership of which is the condition of membership. In the words of Justice Lindley, so different economists, they define joint stock company differently. Professor Hansi, what he said, that joint stock company is a voluntary association. Voluntary association means individuals by their choice they come together, okay, to gain profit. They form one company in which they divide the capital into transferable shares. In the other word of Justice Lindley, by a company is meant an association of many persons who contribute money or money is worth to a common stock and employ it for some common purpose. The common stock so contributed is denoted in money and is the capital of the company. The person who contribute it or to whom it belong are the members. The portion of the capital to which each member is entitled in his share. Shares are always transferable, although the right of transfer them is often more or less restricted. So, according to Justice Lindley, a company by a company is meant an association of many persons. So, here what Mr. Lindley says, that a company, it is an association of many persons. It is an association of many persons who contribute money or money's worth to a common stock and employ it for some common purpose. So, here people again they come together, they put their money for some common purpose. the common stock so contributed. So common stock means this money so contributed, this amount in any form is contributed is denoted in money. So we convert everything in terms of money and the capital of the company, and is the capital, and we call this as capital of the company. The person who contribute it or to whom it belongs are called the members, and the person who are contributing this money, they are called the members of the company. Now each member is entitled with some share which he can transfer to other. So that means the shares are always transferable, although the right to transfer them is often more or less restricted. So transfer, it is more or less restricted. Chief Justice Marshall of USA has defined a joint stock company as an artificial being, invisible, intangible, and existing only in the eyes of law. So again, this is an artificial person who only exists in the eyes of law. Being a mere creature of law, it possesses only those properties which the character of its creation concerns upon it, either expressly or as incidental to its very existence. So actually you are not required to learn all these definitions. Any one definition or meaning is sufficient for you. So in short, what is a joint stock company? So thus a joint stock company is an incorporated association of persons having a separate legal existence, perpetual succession, and common seal. Its capital is generally divided into shares which are transferable subjected to certain conditions. So this is what you should learn. The final conclusion of all these economists is that a joint stock company is an incorporated association of persons having a separate legal existence. So this joint stock company has a separate legal existence. Perpetual succession means it will keep on going with perpetual succession, and a common seal, and company has its common seal, a common name. Its capital is generally divided into shares, and its amount which is contributed, or we say capital, it is divided in shares which are transferable subjected to certain conditions. So this is your joint stock company. Now features of joint stock company. The distinctive features of company organization are as follows. So joint stock company, the various features of joint stock company are a separate legal existence, perpetual succession, limited liability, transferability of shares, common seal, separation of ownership and control, voluntary association, artificial legal person, and statutory regulations and control. First, separate legal existence. A company has a distinct legal entity independent of its member. It can own property, make contract, and file suit in its own name. Shareholders are not the joint owner of the company's property. A shareholder cannot be held liable for the act of the company. There can be contracts between a company and its member. A creditor of the company is not a creditor of its member. Okay. So have you understood what is this? Separate legal existence. So company has a distinct legal entity independent of its member. Means company is totally independent from its member. It can own property. So company can own property means if some property is purchased in the name of company, then it will be the property of that company. It is not the property of the owner of the company. Company can make contract and file suit in its own name. So it can make contracts, it can file suit means it can case on anyone. So its members are different from the company. Shareholders are not the joint owner of the company's property, and the shareholders, you can say that the members of the company, they are not the owner of the property. A shareholder cannot be held liable for the act of the company. So if a company is doing something and something happens, means something wrong happens, then in that case the shareholders are not liable, means they are not blamed for things. It is only company who is responsible for all these things. There can be contract between a company and its member. Now company can make contract with its members also. A creditor of the company is not a creditor of the member. So if anyone give a credit to company, if anyone give some loan to the company, then he has given loan to the company and not the member of the company. So member and the company, they are two separate things. The separate legal entity of the company was recognized in the famous case of Salmon v versus Salmon and Company Limited. Okay, so the separate legal entity of the company was recognized in the famous case of Salmon versus Salmon and Company Limited. The fact of the case were as follows. Salmon formed a company which acquired his own shoe business. He took all the share except 6 shares which he distributed among his wife, daughter and 4 sons. Salmon also purchased some debentures of the company which gave him a charge over its assets. At the time of winding up, the company's assets were not sufficient enough to pay its debt. The creditor of the company argued that these debts should be cleared before paying Salmon for his debenture because Salmon and the company were one and the same person. The court declared that after incorporation, Salmon and company had an identity separate from Salmon, even though he owned virtually all the shares of the company. So have you understood this case? What this case is all about? So here there was a person named Salmon. Now he started one business. In that business, majority of the shares are with him, okay, except few shares which are with some other his family members. Now what happened, that company has taken enough amount of credit or has taken loan, we can say, from some other company or some other person. So during closure of the company, the creditor demanded that Salmon has to repay him, as he has given credit, he has given money to the company and the company is of Salmon. But court, this case was gone in court, and then court given its what we can say that it's in the favor of Salmon. He is given its in the favor of Salmon, that the Salmon and his company, they are two different things. So the creditor cannot ask Salmon to repay. He can ask a company, but company now is in loss, so company cannot repay. So the creditor cannot ask Salmon to repay him. So this was the case. So this case indicates that company has a separate legal existence. Okay, company is different from its owner. Now second is perpetual succession. Perpetual succession, a company is creation of the law and only the law can bring an end to its existence. Its life does not depend on the life of its members. The death, insolvency or lunacy of the member does not affect the life of the company. It continues to exist even if all its members dies. Members may come and go, but the company goes on until it is wound up. So perpetual succession, a company is a creation of the law and only the law can bring an end to its existence. If the death, its life does not depend on the life of members. The death, insolvency and lunacy of the members does not affect the life of company. It continues to exist even if all its members die. Members may come and go, but the company goes on until it is wound up. So perpetual succession means company will keep on running whether its members are there or not. So this is perpetual succession means. Next is limited liability. As a company has a separate legal entity, its member cannot be held liable for the debt of the company. So limited liability, as the company has a separate legal entity, its members cannot be held liable for the debt of the company. The liability of every member is limited to the nominal value of the share bought by him or to the amount of guarantee given by him. For instance, if a member has 50 shares of rupees 10 each, his liability is limited to rupees 500. Even if the assets of the company are insufficient to satisfy fully the claim of creditors, no member can be called to pay anything more than what is due from him. However, if the member of the company so desire, they may form a company with unlimited liability. So limited liability, here the members of company have limited liability, means limited in case of any problem they have limited amount to repay. Okay, as a company has a separate legal entity, its member cannot be held liable for debt of the company. So if the company has taken a big amount of loan, then in that case its members are not asked to repay it. The liability of every member is limited to the nominal value. It is limited to the nominal value of the share bought by him or to the amount of guarantee given by him. So here, if the member has bought 10 shares of the company and the price 50 shares of the company and price of each share is rupees 10, then its total amount is 500 rupees, and in case there is any problem with the company, then the member is liable to repay only 500 rupees. Now here, if member wants, they can form a company with unlimited liability. That means in case of problem, everything have to be paid by the member. So separate legal existence, we have seen what is separate legal existence. That means company is different and its members are different. If company is doing something, then company is liable for it, not its members. Second, we have seen perpetual succession. That means again company will keep on going whether its members are there or not. And third, legal liability, limited liability means the members of the company, they have limited liability. It is as we have seen one example, that if they bought 50 shares of 10 rupees each, so their liability is only 500 rupees. Whether company has a loss of 5 crore, member have to pay only 500 rupees. Now the next feature of the joint stock company is transferability of the shares. The capital of the company is divided into parts. Each part is called a share. These shares are generally transferable. A shareholder is free to withdraw his membership from the company by transferring his share. However, in actual practice, some restrictions are placed on the transfer of the share. So transferability of the shares. The capital of the company is divided into parts. Okay, so what we see here, that in joint stock company, we create shares and we distribute these shares to its shareholders. Now a shareholder, if he want to withdraw his membership, that he want that now he don't want to be in the company, so what he will do, he will transfer his shares, he will sell his shares and he can get out of the business. So transferability of the shares. Common seal. Transferability of the shares. The capital of the company is divided into parts. Each part is called share. So okay, we have done this. Now common seal. Being an artificial entity, a company cannot act and sign itself. Therefore, it acts through human beings. All the acts of the company are authorized by its common seal. The company seal is affixed on all important documents as a token of the company's approval. The common seal is the official signature of the company. Any document which does not bear the common seal of the company is not binding on the company. Okay, common seal. So here what they said, कि being an artificial entity, a company cannot act and sign itself. Now company is artificial entity, na? A company cannot sign on the paper. So for that it requires some human being, that is we can say the director of the company or chairman of the company. So they sign, but they put one common seal. You can find one stamp of the company. Okay, that stamp indicates that it is approved by the company. So if a common seal is not there, then that is not considered legally. Okay, it is not binding on the other company. So company has a common seal. This is again a feature of the company. Separation of ownership and control. Members have no right to participate directly in the day-to-day management of the company. They elect their representatives called directors who manage the company affairs on behalf of the member. Thus, the ownership of the company is distributed among the shareholders while the management is vested in the board of directors. The management of the company is delegated and centralized. So here separation of ownership and control. Now ownership means a few people, they come together, they form a company, so they are the owners, they are the shareholders, they are the members of the company. Now to run the business, okay, they appoint directors. They appoint directors of the company. Now directors of the company may or may not be the shareholders. Okay, directors are separate. They have control on the operation of company. They know what to do for the company, and these members, these shareholders, they cannot interfere in their working. So there is separation of ownership and control. Voluntary association. A joint stock company is a voluntary association of certain persons formed to carry out a particular purpose in common. Many members of the company can join it and leave it at their own free will. So voluntary association, again voluntary association means anyone can join the company, anyone can go out of the company. So there is no restriction. Artificial legal person. A company is an artificial person created by law. It exists only in contemplations of the law. It is competent to enter into contract and to own property in its own name, but it has no physical body of a natural human being. So company law has given a legal identity. So company you can consider as an artificial person. Artificial person means he is not person, company is not a person, but we can consider it because rights are given to the company. Okay, company can sign contract with anyone, company can own property. So they have given right of human beings, but it is not a human being. So company is an artificial legal person. Corporate finance. The share capital of the company is generally divided into large number of shares of small value. These shares are purchased by large number of people from different walks of life. So corporate finance means how they get money. So share capital of the company is generally divided into large number of small shares, and these small shares are purchased by large number of people. Statutory regulations and control. Government exercise control through company law over the management of joint stock company. So here government can exercise control. Government control the company. Okay, how it control? So by using some legal actions, using laws. A company is required to comply with several legal formalities and to file several documents with the registrar of the company. So here company have to follow different legal formalities, okay, and they have to file documents, they have to file documents to the registrar of the company. So we have seen what are the features of joint stock company. We have understood what is joint stock company. So in joint stock company, people come together with a common objective. Okay, they contribute their money and form a company that is called joint stock company. Now joint stock company, it has separate legal existence. It is a perpetual succession and has a common seal, and its capital is generally divided into shares which are transferable subjected to certain conditions. This is joint stock company. What are the features? So we have seen it has a separate legal existence. Okay, so company is different and its members are different. If a company is in loss, then that loss cannot be recovered from its members. Okay, so it is separate from its members. Perpetual successions means company will keep on going, okay, even if their members are changed or members are not there. Third, limited liability. So members of the company, they have limited liability in the sense that if there is a problem, limited liability, if there is some problem in the company, then member need not have to repay for that problem. They have to repay only for their limited liability. Transferability of shares means when joint stock company is formed, okay, members are given shares. Now these shares are transferable. So if any member, he does not want to continue in the company, what he will do, he will sell his shares or he will transfer his shares to someone else. Common seal, again, now as the company is a separate legal entity, but the company cannot sign on paper, cannot sign on contract. So for that it appoint its directors, directors do signature. But in any contract, company seal should be there. Company seal means logo, we can say that there is some stamp, okay, which should be on paper, and that indicates that company has approved what is there. Okay, if common seal is not there, then that paper is not considered legally. Separation of ownership and control. So here ownership means people who started the business, they are the shareholders of the company, they are members of the company, but they cannot control the company, they cannot run the company. For that they appoint directors, and directors decide what to be done in the company. The shareholders cannot interfere with them. Voluntary association. Voluntary association means members here they can come and go, means anyone can join the company by gaining shares of the company, anyone can leave the company by selling or transferring those shares. Artificial legal person. So in the beginning we have seen separate legal existence. This artificial legal person is the same. Okay, by law we have created a company as a person, so we have given all the rights which a person has. So the company is artificial legal person. So in the eyes of law it is a person, but otherwise it does not have any physical personal existence. And statutory regulations and control. So government with the help of different laws, government control on the functioning of joint stock company. Company have to file different documents with the registrar of the company. Okay, so these are various features of the company. Now let us discuss the distinction between company and partnership. Company and partnership. So the point of distinctions are: first, mode of creation. Company by incorporation under the Companies Act among partners. Mode of creation, how the company is created. So by incorporation under the Companies Act among partners. So under Companies Act there is some law, some rule. Under that rule we can create the company. And partnership by a written or oral agreement. So for partnership we have to just do some written or oral agreement between the persons. This is mode of creation. Second, legal status. Distinct legal entity separate from members. Distinct legal entity separate from members. So legal status, no separate legal entity different from partners. So here the members of the company are different than the company. Company is different, its members are different. We have seen separate legal entity, but in case of partnership firm it is not there. If there is any problem done by company, then the partners are responsible for that. Now number of members. So for public company minimum 7, maximum no limit. For private company minimum 2, maximum 200. This is number of members limit. So you have to remember this thing, that in case of public company minimum 7 people are there and maximum no limit, and for private company minimum 2 person is there and maximum no limit. In case of partnership minimum 2 and maximum 50. Liability generally limited by up to the face value of share held or amount of guarantee given. So liability in case of company, they have limited liability, it is equal to the face value of the share, or if member have given any guarantee, then it is equal to that guarantee. In case of partnership, it is unlimited joint and several liabilities. Unlimited joint and several liabilities means in case of partnership, liability is unlimited. In the case of company, liability is limited. So if we discuss these 4 points, so in mode of creation, we have discussed that it is incorporated by Companies Act. In partnership, we have some written or oral agreement. Legal status, here in company we have seen that we have separate legal entity, we have separate legal status. In case of partnership, there is no such separate legal status. Number of members, so in case of public joint stock company, we have seen minimum 7 and maximum no limit, but in case of private, minimum 2 and maximum 200. For partnership, minimum 2 and maximum 50. Liability, now liability, so here in case of company, liability is limited up to the face value of the share or any commitment given by the member. In case of partnership, liability is unlimited. Now transferability of interest, so transferable without permission of other members. So here easily a member can transfer its interest. It can transfer its interest means it can transfer its shares to other members without asking any other member. Now in case of partnership, no transferable without consent of the all partners. So here they cannot transfer their interest without consent of other partners. Management, members elect director who manages the company. So here management is different, okay, than the owner of the company, than the member of the company. So member, they elect directors of the company. Generally every partner has right to take part in management of the firm. Generally every partner has right to take part in the management of the firm. Now implied agency, a member is not an agent of the company or the other member. So a member is not an agent of the company or other member. Here every partner is an agent of the firm or the other partner. Registration, so implied agency, management, have you understood management part? Management, here member elect directors who work for the company, who manage the company, but in partnership form, generally the partners, they manage the company. Implied agency, so here we see that the member is not the agent of the company, but in partnership, they are agent of the firm and of the other partners also. Registration, so in case of company, registration is compulsory. In case of a partnership firm, registration is not compulsory. Legal formalities, filing of audited account, compulsory, cannot change its object without legal procedures. So legal formalities, account and audit, not compulsory, can change objects freely. So in case of company, account need to be audited periodically and they cannot change their objective, okay, without some legal proceedings. Now in partnership firm, auditing is not mandatory, okay, auditing means to check their account is not mandatory, and they can change their objective. They can change their objective means objective is for what they form their company. Initially they decide that they build something, they form some goods, but later on they can change their mind, they can do some other business. So in joint stock it is not permitted, but in but we can say that partnership firm, they can do that thing. Dissolution, so does not dissolve by death, insolvency, leniency, etc. of the member. Dissolution means dismantle of company, means we have formed the company, now we destroy the company, okay. So in case of joint stock company, it is not dissolved by death or insolvency or leniency of the member. But in case of partnership firm, death or insolvency or leniency of the partner, by that dissolution happens. Now governing law in India, so Companies Act 2013 is followed in case of joint stock company, Companies Law Act 2013, and for partnership firm it is the Partnership Act 1932. Partnership Act 1932. So again, these are few points based on which we can differentiate between company and partnership. Okay, I think we should stop here. Go through the topics again, and if you find any point not clear, comment to me or just call me. We will discuss it again. Thank you for being with me in this lecture. Thank you once again.